This is the first of a series of videos on the category of stitch patterns known as mosaic knitting. Mosaic stitches are a subset of the general category of slipped stitches. In mosaic knitting, the designs are usually charted, although you can see them from time to time written out without a chart, but the current day trend is to chart them because they're so much easier to see. This is a typical mosaic knitting chart. Each row on the chart represents 2 rows of knitting. It represents the right side row and the wrong side row. Then you would move up to 3 and do the right side row, 4, wrong side row, etc. Also note that every other row has the dark square and the rows in between are light. The first square of the row tells you which color is going to be worked on that row, and the other color is going to be slipped. So in the first row we can see we're going to start with the dark yarn and we knit that stitch. Then the next stitch is slipped and then we knit these, and these are slipped, these are knit. Now you can do this in different ways. This video is going to be about working mosaic knitting in garter stitch, which means every row is knit. I also will have 2 other videos, one showing how to work mosaic knitting in stockinette, and one showing how to work mosaic in a combination of knitting stockinette and garter stitches. Plus there'll be a variety of videos on working increases and decreases and other various things associated with mosaic knitting. So let's start right out. The first thing you're going to want to do is to cast on your light color. You can see the first row here, we knit the dark color and then we slip a light color. So you have to have this foundation row, and it is not usually included in the chart. So we have a couple of rows of knitting. I did a garter ridge, and now we're going to work row 1. So the very first stitch is knit. We'll move the chart up here so we can follow it and knit at the same time. The next stitch is slipped, and it's slipped with the yarn in the back, and it's slipped from tip to tip, not knitwise. Then the next 7 stitches are knit, so we're going to knit. The next 3 stitches are slipped, and when you slip them you want to be careful to not hold the working yarn too tight across the back or too loose. Just give them a normal knit space between the stitches of what you think your stitch gauge is going to be, and that working yarn is held across the back when you're slipping those stitches. And then we're going to knit 7 more. And then we slip 1 and knit 1, and we're at the end of the first row. So we turn our work, and row 2 is going to be worked exactly the same. So you don't really need to even have the chart for the even numbered rows. You just follow the stitches on your needle. So the first one is dark. Now this time when we slip with the yarn with the front, the working yarn in the front. Slip the stitch, and then we're going to knit the 7. We don't want to ever have the floats of the yarn on the right side of the work. They will always be on the wrong side of the work, and that's one of the things that separates mosaic knitting from the rest of the category of slipped stitches. We slip all 3 of these with the yarn held to the front, then we'll work across the end of the row. So we have worked row 1 and 2. Now we need to change to the lighter color. We're going to slip this one and work that first stitch. And I'll tighten that up. So now we're ready to work row 3. We're going to turn the work, and we can see that row 3 starts with the light color. There's 2 stitches knit, then 1 is slipped, 5 are knit, 1 is slipped. The most important thing I want to show you when changing colors in mosaic knitting is how to handle the color changes at the beginning of the row. We just finished with the red, so let it come forward. Pick the white up underneath and bring it up behind. So the red is hanging straight to the front and you're not twisting the two yarns. This creates a beautiful garter edge, which I'll show you in a few minutes. So the first 2 stitches are knit, and then we slip the next stitch, and so on. And this continues to be worked in the same fashion as that first row. Now, what does this look like after you've worked the whole little chart? This particular chart would result in a swatch that looks like this. This is where we changed colors on the edge by holding the just used yarn to the front and the new yarn pulling it up behind. It makes that nice garter edge. It matches this edge closely, not exactly, but very closely. If you do twist the yarns, what you do is you get a barber pole twist up this side, which is very noticeable. So you can see this has the same fabric texture as garter stitch. So the next video that I'm going to show in the same category is working this same pattern in stockinette, and it will look like this. So click on the little card up in the top right and it'll take you to that video. Happy knitting! See you next time.